I'm gonna say that. Get your dumb
Use the word dumb butts
in here.
Big dumb truck. There we go.
We hanging.
Gang hang. Good morning, all. My name is Matt Baum. Across from me is Mr. Joe Patrick. Say hi, Joe.
Good morning. Hi. Hello.
That was your chance to go hi, Joe. That's a joke. Come on. We used to be good.
Is it the best joke,
yes,
man? Is it the best
joke? It really is. We're the Two-Headed Nerd. On Saturday mornings, we hang out with the listeners in our Discord. You're welcome to come and play. We talk comics, we talk movies, we talk TV. But first, before we talk any of that, my buddy Jimbo is here. And sometimes we talk a little bit of anime and manga. And I want to hear about this new Dragon Ball that came out because I'm kind of pumped, but also scared to watch it in the wake of the Junji Ito shit we were just talking about.
Okay, so Dragon Ball Daima, it's the last thing Akira Toriyama has worked on. First episode's out on Thursday.
Right, he's dead.
Excellent.
R.I.P.
He's dead. He's dead. He finished his writing on it. And it's character designs. So this will be the last thing that he worked on.
But
even more
not,
so than when he did the Sandland help with the Sandland anime.
It will not be the last Dragon Ball, though. We will have Dragon Ball Z until the end of time.
No. Dragon Ball outlist, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine as much as Marvel will use him. So.
Right.
So basically, the premise is he's going to redo GT, which is kind of what we thought.
And GT kind of sucked, right? I didn't love GT.
GT was bad. Some people will do like, it wasn't that bad. No, it was bad. It's because the trigger was not involved. They gave him a bag of money for the rights. He did a couple of character designs, and
somebody else ran with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a generational thing. Like these people that apologize for the Star Wars prequels, they're like, well, you were like 4 when you watched it. Like, no.
Bro, exactly.
No.
So, first episode's out. Animation was movie quality.
Nice.
It was a little longer, too. It was 32 minutes. I'm looking forward to it. The humor's there. You can tell that his influence because, he has a lot of good humor stuff. So.
Okay. Dragon Ball Daima.
We're hopeful.
Into it. I love Dragon Ball and I want to revisit, but I feel like every time I revisited the new stuff, it just, didn't do it. But that's good to hear that it's good. Jumping from there. Now, let's get into it. Green Lantern. We got a Jon Stewart. Brian Domingos, you were here, and we were just talking about Rebel Ridge. Jim, you watched this too. Everybody that watched Rebel Ridge went, holy shit, that's Jon Stewart. Is it true? Is this the guy? Is he the one?
I think so. The first scene, he is riding his bicycle to town when all the drama starts, and you see like he's got really light eyes, and so put a green lens on him, and he's got like the Marines, like it's literally like it looks like the Justice League Unlimited Jon Stewart. Like he's not the gruff like kind of. Because the Jon Stewart in the cartoon was a little bit like he was more, militaristic, and this guy in the movie is a Marine, so he's pretty like he's kind of a calm, polite, but I'll mess you up kind of guy. Yeah. And so it's a different take on it, but obviously it's not the same guy, but it's the easiest casting anyone's ever done. It's like that's the guy, got it, done.
Mm-hmm.
And like AI runs the internet, and no one has put him in a weird, sexy Greg Horn Green Lantern outfit yet. I can't find it anywhere. It's unbelievable.
So his name is Aaron Pierre.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks the part. Like he's I can't really speak to like I haven't seen Rebel Ridge, and I can't really recall if I've seen him in anything else, but like he definitely looks exactly like Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
The only other thing he did was I forget the director's name, was an Amazon slave railroad show.
Did you say slave werewolf show?
Railroad.
Railroad. I thought you said slave.
It was Underground Railroad.
Werewolf show, and I was like, how do I not know about this?
I heard werewolf too.
I apologize.
You start talking werewolves.
Wishful thinking on these guys' parts, I think.
Yeah, he's very young though. He's a younger dude, and he's up and coming. So, and him and Kyle Chandler from Friday Night Lights, who is your Hal Jordan. I kind of love it.
And Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. Not that I don't think Nathan Fillion is in Lanterns necessarily.
Yeah, I don't think he's in there.
I'd be surprised. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up, but he's not one of the mains.
Yeah, Gunn has not said that. He also, and I feel like James Gunn would just come out and tell us because like he came right out and stamped out some Batman rumors this week too, which is good. I'm glad he's doing all this shit because I'm sick of it.
So Aaron Pierre has been in a few things. He was in a movie called Brother in 2022. He was in a show called he played Malcolm X in a show called Genius. And then the name of the show was just called The Underground Railroad. Yeah.
Okay.
And then Rebel Ridge, of course. And so
okay.
He's actually been in a few things. He was in the M. Night Shyamalan movie Old.
You know what? Old was not terrible. Old took a lot of... His
character name is Mid-Sized Sedan.
He played a rapper.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He was on Krypton. That's right. I knew I recognized him from something.
Oh, that sci-fi show that nobody watched but you?
Yeah, he played, I think he was... I don't remember if he and Jor-El were buddies or if he was like a rival or whatever, but he was a Kryptonian. Yeah, well, they were all Kryptonian, but he was he played Dev M, who is an existing DC character on the show Krypton.
So he joins an elite group of actors that have played more than one superhero or DC character.
Well, sure, yeah, I guess.
So did Superman and Lois? Did that end this week or something? Everybody's freaking out about.
No, it premiered. Season 4 premiered.
But this is the final season, correct?
Final season premiere was, I think, last week. Yes.
Okay, and everybody's freaking out about something going on with this Lex Luthor.
I mean, I'm not sure what. Okay. I haven't been able to watch any of my shows since starting the new job, so I don't know what's going on Superman and Lois, other than when the season ended last time, he was fighting Doomsday. So
okay, well, I'm not going to listen to how great it is since nobody watches it anymore. So
it is great. It's great. It's a wonderful show.
I will be watching it. I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I just haven't seen it yet. Now, so I don't know if something new or specific has happened with this Lex Luthor, but
do you want me to spoil it?
I would rather you didn't because I watched the show.
All right, I won't spoil it.
Is it just about his looks or is it about something he did?
It's about something he discovers.
Oh, okay. Then I know. I don't want to know.
He becomes the brain and he falls in love with Monsignor Mala. It's like, it's a whole thing. It's crazy. I did not see it coming.
Monsignor Mala, Matt. He's not a Catholic. He's not a priest. His name's Monsieur.
Yeah,
Monsieur Mala.
I know, but I like Monsignor Mala even better because like with the priest, an ape in a priest outfit. That'd be much more
tragic romance. Yeah.
Jesus.
A forbidden romance.
The vow.
Yeah.
The big kind of like, I don't know if it was controversial or not, but I know that I was taken aback is that the version of Lex Luthor that they got for this show is played by the guy who played Abraham on The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And he is this big burly dude and he shows up with this big old long beard because he's been in prison for 20 years.
Sure.
Like he's intense.
That's how we tell long stories in Hollywood quickly though. We're like, "Oh shit, he's been gone for a while. Look at that beard." You know, like that's what you do.
You remember Will Ferrell's character in Zoolander 2?
Sure.
When he came out of jail.
Yeah.
He was all jacked up and tattooed.
Yeah. Like whenever you're coming back from something, you shave your beard too. You're like trying to get back to business. You know, like, oh shit, he's back, you know?
I'm not sure if he's shaved his beard or not yet. So I don't know if he's still sporting it on the show.
Yeah, I don't think he has.
I saw a preview, but he shaves his beard.
All right.
Okay. Well, good. Because he doesn't look like Lex Luthor at all with a beard. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. That was the only thing is that he was very good in the role, but he didn't really look the part, which with Lex Luthor, you kind of have to. He's got one distinguishing characteristic.
Yeah. Did anybody watch Hellboy yet? The new Hellboy Crooked Man.
No.
I started it last night.
I could have taken the plunge.
I started it last night. And
let me guess, you think it sucks.
I watched about 30 minutes of it, and then I just quietly turned it off. I was like, no.
Well, it's a bad sign when you say I started it last night.
Yeah.
And
it's just, look, it seems like they didn't have the budget. Maybe they thought they had the budget to do the thing they wanted to do, and then they got into it, and they went, oh, this is way more expensive than we thought it's going to be. And then they were like, oh, screw it. We'll just put it out straight to video. And there's a reason why it's not in theaters. I'll say that. It looks kind of CW to me. And it was just, I love that character so much. And I love Mike Mignola's and his enthusiasm for it. And like, but what is Mignola supposed to say? He's not going to come out and be like, we really farted one out. Sorry. You know?
Well, now hold on. Is the biggest problem with it that it doesn't look that good?
No. The biggest problem with it is it's not a very good movie. It's cheap looking. It's not well acted. It's all right. It's too bright.
Well, okay. You said no. And then the first thing you said after that was about the looks.
I'm going into the list of things.
Yeah.
It's not well acted. The story is.
All right. I can overlook bad effects if I understand what they're going for, right? If the story is well done, if it's compelling, if the movie's well acted. But if it's none of those things, then
I feel like I can overcome a lot of that when it's classic stuff, you know, like when I'm watching stuff from the 80s and the 90s. Anymore, I don't know that there's a lot of really good excuses when I see like TV shows on USA with better effects and stuff, you know, and I go, oh.
Well, but it's like She-Hulk, right? Like everyone complained. Well, a lot of people complained about the CGI on She-Hulk.
I don't think there was a good excuse for it, honestly. I think that is still.
But I also did not care. It did not bother me.
I understand you didn't care, but you can't deny that there was an issue with it.
I think that there were some moments where it didn't look so great. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like if the Hellboy movie had been as entertaining,
that's just it.
Yeah. So that's a shame, though.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame.
I think I said it a little bit in the Discord, but I think Hellboy is such a visual book.
Yeah.
You know, some of the one shots that, you know, Mignola does have like exposition set up. We're in Scandinavia because XYZ, and then it's him in a castle by himself with moody attack, and he just says like,
drinking whiskey with skeletons,
right?
Yeah, you know,
and then punches somebody. You know, like it's you need it. If it doesn't look good, what are we doing? Like that's that's the first part of this, and I think I can't overlook bad graphics or bad visuals or, you know, bad directing stuff because I like the character. Like that's not enough for me.
Yeah.
Like you need to pull that off. And I feel bad for Mignola because this is, you know, 2 in a row that are kind of not well received, and
it's probably toast.
I don't want them to do it. Like I want him to get paid. He deserves it. You know, he doesn't have medical insurance, but like,
right.
You know, how many times are we going to like not get this right? And I think Del Toro had the right vibe for the monster stuff, but then like the second Del Toro thing was like Pan's Labyrinth 2 with Hellboy in it.
It wasn't a Hellboy movie,
you know,
at all.
It wasn't a Hellboy.
Yeah, but it
movie,
was gorgeous.
Sure, it was beautiful, but it wasn't a Hellboy.
I like that movie.
Like the trade-off is that it's very, very, very beautiful.
Yeah, Del Toro has the look. He's an excellent director, and he can do the darkness and the feel, and it's all there. It was the story, even in the first one, the story got to a point where it was just like, this is not what I want. You know, but it looked it looked the part.
The visuals are good, but I don't want to watch Pan Labyrinth 2.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, because I don't really care. Like I'm not invested in that. And then I don't want to see Hellboy in it. Like that's not kind of what works. You know, that's not what I'm
I certainly don't want to see Liz and Hellboy in a romance. Like
I didn't.
That was the one thing I hated.
Hellboy 1. I don't think there's anything wrong with Hellboy
either.
1 except for that romance.
That was the major problem. I was just like, don't do that.
Right, but like the story's fine. You know, it's like you got a point of view character with the new agent coming in. Like it's all fine, and then it's like, oh, he's in love with Liz. That's stupid.
Yeah, you didn't need it. And then in the second one, Abe falls in love with the fairy queen and just like, fuck the earth, fuck everybody. I'm in love with the fairy queen.
Yeah, but you know what? That doesn't seem as far removed. That doesn't seem as implausible for a BPRD story, considering how long it was around.
I disagree, because Abe was always more level-headed.
I can imagine like a character from the BPRD kind of like falling under the sway of
a character,
a fake creature,
not Abe Sapien. That dude, he was always a level-headed one. He was always a smart guy. It just
I don't know. I'm pretty sure I've read some later day Abe Sapien stories where he has gone off the rails a bit.
I want to say.
I think you're looking back at Abe Sapien through rose-colored glasses, my friend.
Fair. Fair. But I also don't remember the Fey creature like magically making him love him. He like makes the decision. He's like, yeah, I don't fit in humanity. I want to be there. I want to run around with elves. Like, that
love
makes
is
sense.
love, man. I don't know what to tell
You're
you.
a water monster. Why wouldn't you want to run around with elves? I get it, man.
Gender, it's like Pepe. It's like Pepe the Prawn said, gender is fluid and love is love.
I like that Del Toro was like, you know what, my movies need more fish screwing. So come and see.
Yeah.
My
It's like
lady.
he didn't get enough. It was like it's like he made Hellboy. He made Hellboy 2, and he was like, you know what? I'm
too much Hellboy in that.
I've got my next big one all planned out.
The Shape of Water is the best Abe Sapien movie ever made. No question. It's fucking incredible.
Yeah, I mean,
it's incredible.
It is a pretty dang good movie.
Yeah, we're never going to see Hellboy again, though. That's it. And quite honestly, it's the kind of thing where I think had they just give me something animated that looks really good and really edgy with a good voice, you can even get Harbor to do the voice again and redeem himself, and I'm fine. But you need a special kind of director to pull this shit off.
They did 2 animated movies. I don't remember who.
They were fine.
I don't know. They didn't work. There's something. I think it's got to be
the direct-to-DVD animated movies.
Yeah, they were fine.
Yeah, they were fine. Like, I've got them, and they're like, I don't think I've watched them more than the first time they came out, and I probably, watched them while I was, cleaning the house. It was not like, oh, I got to sit and watch this whole thing. Like, I wish they could do a TV thing, like little, because even these little stories, like with the Hellboy saga kind of over,
right?
But they still are doing regular miniseries where it's like him in a weird place. Yeah. There's new people. There's a new agent. And they find some like terrifying monster or witch or goblin, and it's fun, and it's it's $3.99 and it's over, and it's like, wow, that was great. Like there's a real wealth of opportunity of just tone and vibe and storytelling they could do with lots of different people. And I think just sometimes it gets bogged down in they think it's got to be big and huge, and it's like sometimes the best ones are the quiet ones,
right? Right.
Yeah. That just kind of works. So
yeah, just give us a BPRD show and I'd be fine with it. Let's do it and make it the monster of the week or whatever, with a slightly larger overarching story about the frogs in the background and shit or whatever. Like, do it.
I mean, this is a failing on my part, and I hate to admit it because I love animation, I love cartoons, but in my old age, I find that sitting down to watch an animated project just doesn't feel like, I don't know. It's weird because it's all disposable, like nonsense entertainment. But for some reason, like if it's not like live action, I feel like it's not as worthy of my attention.
You tell me you didn't like the Spider-Man movies? Really?
Well, Into the Spider-Verse is a different kind of thing. Yeah. Like the Spider-Verse movies, those things were clearly something very special.
Yeah.
But like watching it's like watching the direct-to-DVD DC movies. Like after I watched a few when they first came out, I was like completely disinterested.
Because the problem is those aren't good. They managed to take. But that's not
the point. The point is that they're all different. Like they could have been good, but I'd never know because I didn't give them a chance.
You're not missing much, Joe.
You don't know, Matt. You haven't seen them all. I haven't
seen all of them. No, you're right. But there's a reason why we haven't delved into them either. No one is out there.
I think that they're also. I think that things are also kind of. I think animation, like anime aside, because anime is its own cultural thing. But I think animation is also kind of put on the back burner compared to other types of entertainment. When it comes to American audiences, unless you're sitting down unless you're the sort of person that builds their whole personality around Family Guy or Rick and Morty or whatever.
I mean, sure.
Like how many, I'm worried about this. Worried about this with the Creature Commandos show. I'm worried about people not really taking it seriously as the first chapter of this thing. I don't know.
Frank, what do you got?
I am a huge animation fan, and but I do kind of agree with Joe, but kind of disagree because for people who do love animation, for people who do love the art form, you're gonna have people saying, "Yeah, this is great." I have literally have watched like probably 99% of those DC animated movies because I love the stuff. And the problem with it, and the problem has always been with any of the DC stuff, is it's so disconnected.
Mhm.
But I think because all of this stuff that's coming up is all supposed to be connected to each other, I think it's going to have a different impact.
I hope that's true, Frank. I do hope that's true.
I mean, I agree with you in saying that American audiences don't take animation seriously because they think they look at it like, well, this is kid stuff. Well, this is not really part of.
Or it's the sort of thing that you can put on while you're cleaning your house.
Sure.
Right. But I think when you look at what Marvel did, and a lot of people will say, well, the What If wasn't really that great. But I thought it was excellent. I thought it really kind of like keyed into a lot of things that were missing for me from the Marvel universe, like these alternate stories. And then I liked how when we got was it the Multiverse of Madness, they called back to that What If episode with
It's true.
Dark Strange.
No, they did.
Okay?
And they weren't bad. My only problem with the What If stuff, it was just too insular. Like, you've got this show called What If, and you're just going to play on weird movie stuff. Like, why? You're playing it so safe. Why?
I agree, but that's where I agree with Joe is the American audiences don't take animation seriously, so they had to connect it. They had to put that connective tissue.
I think they played it very safe.
You know what I mean?
Too safe.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that while they could have used it to introduce a lot of the weirder concepts from Marvel Comics.
Right. Devil dinosaur, man. Give me a What If devil dinosaur.
and then be able to technically say, yeah, hey, guess what? This is in the Wood God is in the MCU because he appeared in What If. I think that without it connecting to the movies, people would not, and when I say people, I mean like the public at large, would not have cared. And I didn't even watch What If season 2, and I feel bad about it.
I watched the first couple, and it's if you like the first one, it's perfectly good. I didn't finish it because I was like, we're still just doing the movie touchstone stuff.
Matt, you're gonna miss the backstory of the character that they're bringing to the
They're bringing this
Marvel comic, the backstory of the first MCU character to ever come to.
I bet I'll catch up pretty quick if I need to.
He's not. That is a joke. That's not what they're saying. I think they're saying that it's the first time that they're continuing a character's story from the MCU in comics, not because obviously we have Coulson and all manner of people.
Phil Coulson is now the Death Stone on the new Infinity Squad. So
Jim, settle down. I already put anime in its own category. You're covered, buddy.
No, the DC ones though, like Frank, I'm glad you like them. Look, every time I tried one, I just lost interest because it's the same animation. It felt like they're just factory stamping these out, and it like the Death of Superman one, boring.
But here's the thing:
all the Batman, the variations of Batman ones,
literally, but they were literally better than the stuff that was coming out in the DCU
at the time.
Sure,
and everything else coming.
Low bar to clear, though, right?
It's true.
If you're telling me like, oh, this was better than Shazam 2, I mean, you're not okay. Like, fair.
not a very. You're not really going on a limb.
Like there's Leprechaun movies that were better than Shazam.
I have heard there are a few of those that I have heard great things about. Like,
there are a few.
Under the Red Hood. Batman Under the Red Hood.
I didn't mind that one. Under the Red Hood was like that. Wasn't bad.
But for every Under the Red Hood, there is that one that's called ironically enough, I think it's actually called Gods and Monsters, which is the name of the James Gunn deal, where it's like the weird alternate take on the JLA. They're like from an alternate universe and they're dictators. It's like, I don't care.
That was the one where like they literally had Batman was not Bruce Wayne, but I think he was the Man Bat, but he wasn't, but he
Kirk Langstrom.
Yeah, but he'd become a vampire instead of a bat. Wonder Woman was Big Barda.
Wonder Woman was like Big Barda. Yeah,
I think Wonder Woman was literally Big Barda.
Okay. So it was different characters in the roles. That's weird.
And then Superman was Zod. I think, or Zod-like character from Krypton, who was.
Yeah, I did.
It was an interesting. It really was an interesting take. I really did enjoy that. I thought it was like here. This is a twist that, no one saw coming. No one wanted it, but you know what? It was good.
Nobody wanted.
And you know what? That's fair enough. And that's more than I already knew about it. When I saw it, I thought it's just Elseworlds. But if it's like, this is what if Zod was Superman? That's different than what I was imagining.
The good news is they didn't come in and clean house and fire the entire animation studio because they're going to completely drop the ball on Creature Commandos. I don't know, but they are rethinking the way they do animation, most definitely. And they know there's money to be made there. And Marvel has proved it with Sony and Spider-Man movies. Those are huge blockbusters. And if you can get close to that, like this Watchmen thing they just put out, I think that was like maybe the last.
Did that even come out? Is it out?
Yeah, it's out there. And it's
out there.
It's out there. And it's just boring. It's freaking
like a big blue hog. It's out there.
Yeah. And, yeah.
Brian, you started to say when I went on my screed about animation, you started to say something. Did you have a thought?
Yeah, I think a lot of those animated things are. It's tough. Like the Under the Red Hood animation movie is good, but like the comic is fantastic. It's of course it's good. Like you'd have to really screw it up to make a bad version of it. So it's like, okay, I'd rather read the comic and see Doug Mankey's art and read Judd Winnick's script there than the voice acting, which doesn't always fit. And there's something kind of disposable about them. And I agree with you, Joe.
Disposable is exactly the thought that I had.
Yeah. And I feel that way when I sit down, and I kind of felt that way watching the new Batman cartoon, a little bit of it's okay. There's things that I like, but it didn't completely blow me away. But I feel like most animation does not anymore. I just don't care. And there's just a part of me that it doesn't work anymore. And I think it was a Netflix cartoon that was going around a couple months ago, and everyone was like, you have to watch this. It's mind blowing. If nobody watches it, they're not going to make any more. And it was in the Discord. It was all over the net.
Was it Smugglers something or Scavengers something?
Yeah. It's mechs and beautiful. It's beautiful, but I put it on. I was like, I am not watching this. I don't care. My brain just does not, it doesn't do anything for me. It washes over me in a, I acknowledge the figure work in the art of it, and the graphics, and you could see the skill and the thoughts, but it's when
how doing dare you impugn the Emmy-winning animated series Scavenger Reign? That was one of the best things to come out.
I
are you
loved it.
Absolutely joking me?
Yeah, I loved Scavenger's Reign, Brian.
But I'm with Brian. It's that I understand. I recognize its quality. But for some reason, I can't make my brain care more.
I couldn't disagree more here. I'm with you.
No, and that's fine. And look, and
it was amazing.
And it's just
stunning.
And again, I say this as an artist, as a cartoonist, as somebody who studied animation in college. I would, when I come home from work at the end of a long day, I would rather sit down and watch trash than watch.
That's your falling down. That's not.
Well, I would rather stop at Burger King on the way home from work and pick up a quick meal than come home and grill myself a steak. But I understand that eating nutritious food sometimes is going to keep me alive longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think watching Scavenger's Reign instead of Sexy Boat Doctor, Ryan Murphy's new Sexy Boat Doctor show is going to extend my lifespan.
I would argue Scavenger's Reign.
I think it's going to expand your circle of what makes good art.
Yes, I agree, Ian. And not to mention the fact that it's one of the best animated shows we have seen in the last 20 years. It's incredible sci-fi.
You
guys are not saying anything that Brian and I don't already know.
I acknowledge. I could see it from the first frame. It's it's beautiful. I get it. I could see it. I don't care. I can't.
This whole argument to me just sounds like it's easier to be dumb.
It is easier to be dumb.
It's easy to be dumb. Why would I want to think about something when I could just like sit down and stuff a tube down my throat?
Oh, but Ian, it's not just things that are like intellectually stimulating. It's any adult animation project.
Yeah, and no, it's not a thinking thing. It's a feeling thing. It doesn't move me emotionally. I see it. I register it. I think I get it. Like I saw it as like, I get why people would like this. I really do.
Yeah,
There's some things people talk about and I go,
honestly.
who the hell, like the people like these things? I don't get it. It's baffling.
Well, here's the other
I
side
want to
of
hear
this.
more about the sexy boat doctor.
Oh, we can talk about sexy
No,
boat doctor.
we're not doing it here. No, you can do that on your Ryan Murphy cast.
Literally get on board. It's pacey. Let's do it.
I will say I understand.
It's called, just real quick, it's called Dr. Odyssey. It's on ABC. There's 3 episodes. It's great. Go watch it.
Just to further drive this point home, I don't disagree with what you're saying either, Brian, because the evidence is that show was canceled because nobody watched it. I loved it. It was amazing. It was one of the best animated sci-fi shows ever, period. Nobody watched it. So,
and you know something? It's like there's so many animated stuff that I'm just like I rediscovered my love for it. It was just I guess I'm coming from a different
Love, Death,
side.
and Robots. That's another one. Yeah,
kind of And I watched Smuggler. Smuggler was amazing. And then actually one of the shows that really stuck with me this year was Blue Eyed Samurai.
Yeah,
that
absolutely. It's so good.
The visuals of it matches any live action. And the storytelling too.
It's
the pacing of
excellent. Yes.
And watching all that stuff, it reminded me of animation. Look, I get it. For Brian and Joe's case, they're kind of like, this is just where they are, and it's just their opinion and how where they are in their life.
Yeah, it's not.
I haven't lost that.
I haven't lost it either, but I will say the American public has. Nobody's watching Blue Eyed Samurai either.
I agree.
It's not a failure to recognize quality or value. It is a personal the way I choose to spend my time or the way I emotionally engage, or even engage with my attention. Like it's much easier for me to for my attention to stray when I'm watching animation than if I'm watching something in live action, regardless of what it is. And you can call it a failing, but it's just, I don't know. Brian, it's funny because Brian said in the chat before I called on him, he said the DC animated movies drag on at 90 minutes, which is absolutely true, but also completely bizarre when you consider things that like Under the Red Hood was a 6-issue story arc. Or Hush is a year-long story arc that they boiled down to 90 minutes. But watching it in cartoon movie form, it is a slog.
Because he should have broken it up into episodes like the comic. It should have been 6 30-minute episodes maybe, or something like that. And then it's got your attention. It's doing the job, whatever.
But then they would have had to make 6 compelling 30-minute episodes.
Fine, do it. Please.
Which is triple the amount of which is double the amount of content.
Well, sure, but it's also their money wasn't there because people weren't watching them. Otherwise, they'd keep doing them, and they could just crap out these movies. So
it's just it's a personal preference thing, and I wish that I were more interested in things like I would love to get into anime, but I know my own mind. Like I've watched anime and appreciated anime. I watched the first issue of episode of Chainsaw Man and loved it. I watched Pluto and I loved it. I watched this isn't
your mind. This is an attention span issue, is what it is.
It's not an attention span issue. It is like for some reason I don't know. Like my mind doesn't feel like it feels like I should be focusing on other things when there's a cartoon on in the background.
Well, that's an attention span issue. You just described an attention span issue. I feel like I should focus on other things. Come on, you're diagnosing yourself.
Maybe I have adult ADHD.
I have 100%.
I probably do.
We both do, Joe. That's why we host a show about comic books. Okay, bad news. We like pretty pictures.
Because I'm letting Jim down, and it makes me sad because Jim is one of my favorite people.
All right, let's talk about something a little lighter. Maybe we can all agree on. Absolute Batman. Absolute Batman came out this week, and Joe and I squealed about it, but I would love to hear anybody's thoughts on what you thought about Absolute Batman, if it did it for you.
That bat logo is now my favorite bat logo all time. Now that I know what it's for.
I still don't like the logo. I know what it's for. I still think you could have made it a little battier. It'd still be a cool axe if it was just a little battier.
How much, Damon, it's very cool. How much crap it was there for 2 weeks of just people bitching and complaining about it?
Right. Yeah, right.
I was ripping on it too.
Yeah, but then it's like, it's good. The book is, I had no expectation. I thought it was great. And I don't even like what Scott Snyder's done with Batman. I'm not really a fan of his stuff. And I put it down and was like, yeah, they did what they needed to do. You needed to give us something tipped at a 90-degree angle, different, and they nailed it. And sure, do more.
I'll say this, though. If he doesn't use that bat axe on a fairly regular basis, it's going to feel kind of disappointing.
I mean, he has a bunch of other things too, like spikes in his helmet.
Yeah.
And
oh my god, crazy, the ear knives. Good lord, the dude is.
It's funny too because it's the kind of '90s Rob Liefeld shit that we would make fun of if like some character showed like, my name's Rapture and I've got knives that come out of everywhere and I'm a murderer. We'd be like, okay, Rob, cool. But then like Scott Snyder and Nick Dragotta do it, and we all went, holy shit, that looks rad.
You know what? If Rob Liefeld drew like Nick Dragotta, we would be having a different conversation.
Rob Liefeld is like, he's 80% idea and 2% execution.
Yes.
The guy can't pull it off.
Yeah.
And they got this, and not to derail because we should keep talking about Batman, but he's doing another Youngblood book. It's going to be completely worthless.
Oh, yeah.
Because he has no idea. He did not finish one plot in all of those years of Youngblood. There's no story. The only story that gets semi-revealed or kind of with any bit of resolution is that Chapel, had something to do with
Chapel killed Al Simmons. Yeah,
which isn't even a Youngblood story.
That was McFarlane. That was McFarlane. Yeah, McFarlane used that. He was like, "Yeah, can I use that character?"
That was it was in Youngblood Strike File because I remember reading it. Jay Lee drew it, and it was incredible. And
so it's you get Snyder and Dragotta doing these very kind of edgy ideas, but they know how to execute. And
yes,
because they're storytellers. Where Rob Liefeld's not a storyteller. He's a pinup artist. And that's fine. Be a pinup artist, but
generous.
He has no nuance. Well, there's a lot of
it is generous, but it's also correct. He does his own style of pinups. That's it. I'm not saying they're good.
Yeah, anything can be a pinup.
I'm saying
the person
he did it. Is what I will. The nicest thing I could say is he did it.
I so like Mark is not here with us today. Mark Stern.
You made it sound like he passed away, but
Mark is no longer with us. Mark posted,
the better Mark is here.
Yes, of course. Mark the
OG Mark.
I was going to say Mark.
OG Mark.
Yeah, OG Mark.
Yeah.
He comes first in the alphabet, which makes him technically better. But Mark posted
a graphic novel apostle here.
That's right.
Those are hard to come by, fellas.
It's true.
Mark posted that page when we were talking about it. We were talking about it in the Discord earlier this week. He posted that page where Cable is. Oh, it was in Matt's ridiculous question about Bishop and Cable showing up at the end of Action Comics.
It's absolutely there, and that guy's not white, Joe.
First of all, Matt, his skin is the same color as everybody else on that page. Not. Second of all, not everybody that wears blue looks like Bishop.
That looks like, but the other guy wearing silver looks like Cable, right?
You agree with that? Though.
Do you agree with that?
He doesn't look like Cable.
Please.
No. He's got gray hair. That's it.
There's some reference. I'm right. You know what?
Anyway,
I'm going to get a hold of that artist. And when they say it, then I'm going to say, like, you're wrong,
That's
sir.
Clayton Henry.
You did not do it right, Clayton. You're wrong. You're an idiot. My friend Joe says no.
You know what? Matt, if you can get Clayton Henry to admit that was supposed to be a Bishop stand-in, then I will publicly admit that I am wrong.
I'm going to reach out.
But
anyway,
I think you are an idiot right now.
Let's go back to where we were.
We were talking about, like characters looking like Cable and Bishop just by virtue of them holding ridiculous weaponry. And Mark posted a couple of pictures of Cable.
I'm looking at it right
and
now.
One of them, like the gun is just floating in front of Cable's body and his hands are sort of near it. And it's supposed to be he's holding it, and he's not holding anything.
No,
he's
his
not
hand is there.
holding onto anything.
That's just his hand is there, and that's it. I'll drop it in the chat.
And it's just it's so funny to me that like
he does the same thing with swords. He doesn't know how to do it. He has no idea how to draw someone holding something.
Yeah.
He just puts the fist on underneath it, and it's not the same thing.
The hand is not even tilted in like the angle of the hand needs to match the angle of the gun, Rob.
Well, he's also stepping out of one panel and on top of another panel, apparently. Like,
I mean, that's
his
that's artistic flourish.
His back foot is cut off.
It's like when you have an action finger without kung fu grip. And you can't get them to hold their accessories properly.
Yes, exactly.
No matter how you put the gun in their hand,
I'm taking photos of them.
It's bizarre. Yeah, they're like pointed the wrong way.
They don't make characters
pointed
with
at their
kung fu grip
face
anymore. I don't think.
Like, yeah. No, I mean, like, look. Good for Rob. There's people that care and they are excited, and there's people that will pay too much money for it.
We need to get back to Batman because we were specifically not supposed to go down this rabbit hole. But Absolute Batman, I thought was incredible on every single level. Everything about it worked for me.
Yeah. And he was
from the writing all the way down to the lettering and the coloring.
It was a huge week for DC Comics. Like several of their comics sold out all over the place. They're all going to second printings. All In seems like a big hit. I don't know. I know Damon watches it, but like if you're watching AEW wrestling, they have those really stupid AEW short stories in the back of DC Comics. Right? They're terrible.
Yeah.
But they're doing live action. They're doing television commercials on AEW for comic books. For straight up comic books, for floppy issues. It's awesome. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Well, you said that last week it was graphic novels.
Last week they did a bunch
and then this week it was
DC
a commercial for DC All In and Absolute Batman specifically.
Floppy. Well, they showed Wonder Woman. They showed they started with Absolute Batman, but they showed Wonder Woman. Then they showed All In, and they were like, it's a great time to read DC Comics. Now's the time to come back or to jump back in. And it was like, hell yes. This is how you do it.
They're 100, but first of all, yay to DC for throwing money at advertising. It's what we've always said since the dawn of time.
Right.
These publishers need to advertise their product. They need to go to where they want the audience to be. Or pardon me, the audience they want to tap into, they need to go to them and not expect them to come randomly. But also, it is a great time to jump back into DC Comics.
It's no lie. They're doing it, and they're doing it very well right now. And
I said this on the show this week.
Excited to read DC Comics.
Mark Waid has 3 comics coming out from DC next week. 3.
Yeah, and they're all going to be good. He's killing it.
Action Comics, World's Finest, and Batman and Robin Year One. They're all going to be incredible.
Can I got a question, Matt?
Yeah.
For Matt. Why do you say penguin?
Penguin?
When you're referring to the character Penguin?
Great question.
I said penguin.
Look,
I listened to that and I'm
I just want to let's.
I said penguin. I don't say penguin.
Penguin. And then you said penguin?
What?
You called him penguin.
Matt,
did I have a stroke?
Frank, this is something that I have been experiencing for 25 years.
I say penguin. I'm saying right now, penguin.
You don't.
I say
on
penguin.
The show, you call them penguin.
No, I do not.
No, we got to get him to say it on the show. Yeah.
On the show, you call them penguin.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to
it. You also say instead of saying once, you say wants. Like your pronunciation of certain
once upon a time is how you say it. You don't say once. WUNCE once.
That's how the word is pronounced.
From Philadelphia? What, you have a drink of water with that, Joe?
It did sound like Matt was screaming a safe word there for a second. When he kept saying
penguin. Yeah.
Hey, and your penguin episode was awesome.
It was fun.
Great.
Oh, thank you.
Except for when it was the penguin episode.
Yeah, apparently I had a stroke while we were recording it. I don't know.
Matt has been doing this the entirety of the time that I've known him, and at a certain point, I just had to be like, you can't make fun of him because it's
no idea what we're talking about. Like I got kicked in the head by a horse.
You pronounce certain words very, very strangely.
What are we?
I thought it was a joke that you just carried too far.
Penguin. Listen to the show. You said penguin through the entire thing.
Maybe you also said penguin when you were speaking about the actual bird.
Okay.
I thought you were
I'm not buying this at all.
I didn't even get that.
I'm not buying this at all.
And I will say that during this conversation, and it's probably because we called you on it and you were self-consciously thinking about it. You said penguin. You said penguin during this podcast. But on the show, you say penguin.
When
you say the word
I'll
once,
go back
you
and
say
listen to
once.
it. That is how you pronounce the word once. Once upon a time. ONCE.
No, Matt, it's once.
Well, when you turn something on, or do you turn it on? I'm just curious.
Hey, Matt, I don't make the rules for English. I'm telling you, nobody else on earth pronounces that word once. Nobody.
Fair. All right.
Go check out Rob Words on YouTube to see why the English language is so fucked up.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to.
He's getting self-conscious now.
No, I'm not. This is uninteresting for people that aren't in on the joke, you guys. Right.
Except for all of the people here that just were having a great time talking about it.
This is the best part of the show so far.
Yeah. Like we all attacked the mentally handicapped kid. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Well, anyway, listen, you guys, everybody should go check out our penguin episode. We put a lot of effort into it, and I think it's turned out pretty great.
I'm really digging
it. Did
these character deep dives and stuff like this. I think they are super fun because I haven't read a lot of this shit, and all I know is like, look, I like that character, I recognize that character, but I don't have the cachet outside of something that like I picked up and read and went, oh yeah, I really like that. I've never gone back. I've never read Golden Age comics until we started doing this shit. Never read them. Never did.
Yeah.
And I still have to like turn my brain a certain way to enjoy it because it is a Golden Age comic and the story is different. It's totally
I don't want to say that it's fair to judge certain things differently based on when they came out, but you have to, right? I'm not saying turn off your critical brain, but there are certain stylistic things that you have to keep in mind when you're reviewing Golden or Silver Age stories.
Sure.
If a dumb story is dumb, that's different. Or if the art was completely terrible, that would be different. But it's an interesting exercise, and I think that if you go back and listen to a lot of the Cosmic Long Boxes we've done, we've been pretty generous to a lot of that stuff, and it's very rare where we go, this just fucking sucked.
Well, I mean, like, look, a lot of the Golden Age stuff that we look at is pretty big time stuff. There's all kinds of really weird Golden Age comics and Silver Age comics that like we delve into.
Ty Templeton, the artist, the creator Ty Templeton. I'm a huge fan. I follow him on Facebook. He just posted something this week where he said, like, just as like light bedside reading, he's been reading the Golden Age, Flash, and Green Lantern. What were those books called? Good Lord, Archives. The Flash and Green Lantern Archives books from DC. And he was just like, they are terrible, you guys. They're so bad.
Oh, yeah. I mean, most of that stuff is
this
crap,
is not
right?
like, and this is not, and this is the era that gave us Will Eisner, that gave us Jack Kirby, Walt Kelly and everything that he did. Like, this is not a timing issue or an era issue. It's that these creators that were doing these stories put out awful work.
Sure. That wasn't their main focus, though, right? It was like they were focusing on Fantastic Four. They weren't necessarily focusing on, like lighter Marvel shit that they were working on, or they were focusing on Superman or Batman or something. And these were side.
I guess
there's a reason why the old Aquaman
they're
comics
turning
are
out
fucking
10-cent comics for children.
Sure, but
in 1941, right?
I still feel like they cranked out an amazing amount of work, and they had to focus on some of it, and the other things were just, let's get it done. Let's just get it out there, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I think that's a publisher priority, not necessarily an artistic priority. Like an artist that cares about their work is going to do good work.
Sure,
but
what if you don't have time?
In a lot of cases, when you look back at the Golden Age, especially, but to a lesser extent, the Silver Age, a lot of those creators were guys that just like they were punching a clock.
Sure.
Sure. And they were punching a time clock. It's like my gig during the war was to draw airplane manuals, that sort of thing. And so, yeah.
Have that Will Eisner book. It's great.
Yeah, but it's not like from the Bronze Age up or the late Silver Age and up, where it's now we're dealing with creators that grew up loving comics.
Right.
These guys were workmen, and it's a different vibe for sure. Frank has something he wants to share. He went on a trip to a pretty cool place last week. Yeah. Frank, let us have it.
I was at Disney World last week. My wife and I were staying at Saratoga Springs. Anyway, there was a cast member I ran into, and she was from Oklahoma. And I said, "Oh, hey, I'm sorry, Omaha, Nebraska."
Oh, okay.
I keep doing it. I keep doing that. That's my problem.
We don't talk about Oklahoma here, okay?
Yeah. No, we don't talk about Oklahoma. So she was from Oklahoma. Omaha, Nebraska. And I said, "Oh, I listened to a podcast with a couple of guys from Oklahoma." She's like, "Oh, the two nerd."
Omaha, not guys. Oklahoma. Omaha.
Omaha. Sorry, I keep saying
Oklahoma is a state. We are not in Oklahoma.
I'm sorry. I have learning disabilities.
It's all right. It's all right.
We're hundreds of miles from
Joe
Oklahoma.
is ADHD, and I've got
they were from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Right.
Joe is ADHD,
Listen, Mark,
and I have a tongue so fat I can't speak. So, well, you know what happened? It is what it is.
We have enough problems without being accused of being from Oklahoma.
Yeah, no doubt.
This cast member, she said she loved you guys, and she listened to you. You should listen to you guys. So you have a cast member fan, and she was pretty young and fairly.
Okay, we keep saying cast member. Was she dressed as a character? Is that what you mean?
No. She worked for, and anybody who works for Disney is called a cast member.
Oh God.
She works for the Disney Vacation Club.
Okay.
But anybody who works for Disney, because technically you are on stage all the time.
Gotcha. All right.
That's why they're
right there. Yeah, they have to be. Yeah, they have to be. They're in character whether they're portraying a character or not.
Right.
You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
If you work there, you are representing the company as long as you
are playing John or Jane Disney. You know,
right?
You gotta play the part.
So so she was saying that she listens to you guys. She listened to you guys, and she really likes you guys.
Oh, well, that's
great.
Well, you know what? We'll give her the shout out on next week's episode.
Well, it'd be cooler if
serious Disney cast member fan from
Sarasota. Cooler if she were like Belle
Saratoga.
Or something, or
Saratoga.
Did you ask her about 311?
Place. Listen, now I'm going to get you. Sarasota's a different place.
Mark.
Sarasota in Florida. Even though Saratoga Springs is in New York, they have a resort called Saratoga.
Yeah, of course. That makes more sense. You didn't go to Florida. You were in Saratoga Springs, New York. Yeah.
No. I was not in New York. I was in Florida.
Son of a bitch, Frank.
I know it's confusing. People say, wait. I had a friend of mine say, wait a minute. You're in Saratoga Springs, Disney in Florida. I'm like, yeah. It's like I'm confused because there's this. I live about an hour and a half from Saratoga Springs, New York.
Oh, so there is a Saratoga Springs in both states.
Yes. Well,
gotcha.
There's an Omaha in Georgia too. Wrap your head around that. Mark, just based on your comment, just so you know, 311 only tells people they're from Omaha when they're playing in Omaha. Otherwise, they're like, we're 311 from LA everywhere else they go. And we go, you can have them. You know what? LA, you can have them.
Pat Benatar used to do that. Pat Benatar. I live in Lindenhurst. I come from Lindenhurst, a town in Long Island. Pat Benatar is from Lindenhurst. Her picture is literally in the high school rotunda, and there's a picture of her, former notable graduates from Lindenhurst. She refused to say to anybody she was from Lindenhurst. She would always say, "I'm from New York City."
Of course.
And
that's way cooler.
Yeah. Well, of course it is.
That's why everybody from Jersey City says, "Yeah, I live in New York." You know?
But about 5 years ago, she admitted to being from Lindenhurst, which is finally, like I was mad. I was mad at her for 40 years.
Hey. I just thought she came from the streets, and she walked around with people in like weird dance outfits and like got in dance fights with pimps and stuff. Like it looked like it was hard. I don't know.
Yeah, no, she lived in Merrydale Park, which is a very nice part of Lindenhurst.
She dated real tough cookies.
In a nice neighborhood
with a tendency for breaking little hearts like the ones in me. All right. This has been fun. It was great to get made fun of and talk about all this super neat stuff.
Hey, look, we got a couple minutes left. We got any last minute things to toss out real quick before Matt?
I got a wife that's knocking on the wall, but what do we got, Mark?
You tell her it's not noon yet.
I just wanted to say we still love you, Matt.
I don't feel it, Mark. I don't feel it. All right, you're Lerv.
Though I do, I'm sorry, I did have to bump you down on the list of the coolest people I know. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, a buddy of mine is working on that live action Voltron movie. Actually, he was telling me about it. And the crazy part is they are shooting all the live action stuff is being shot in Australia because you can hire Australian teams cheaper. And the setting is right there and all that stuff. And then all the American actors are basically acting on blue screen here in the States. It's crazy. And then they just mush it together and you got a movie. Live action Voltron.
Is it who I'm thinking of?
Yeah, my buddy Danny.
Oh.
No, it's Jeff.
Danny.
It's Jeff. Yes, it's Jeff.
Okay.
Yeah, my buddy.
Well, last time I brought up Jeff, you were worried that we were blowing up his spot, but
no, it's very cool because like they were worried from what he had told me. They were worried, like, I don't know, they're trying to do this and it sounds like it could be fun, but there really isn't any star power. And then Henry Cavill's announced, and that's kind of fun, right? I don't know who he's going to be. Maybe the main bad guy.
Yeah, there you go.
I think he's got to be Pidge.
Yeah, my real answer is he's probably Keith with an incredible mullet. And the other
he's a little old
Voltron
for that
himself,
though. Like Voltron, they're kids, you know. Like that was a cool. That's why we liked Voltron, because like shit, I can go into outer space and drive a space tiger. Fuck yeah, you know.
Maybe he plays the blue bad guy.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe he's the main bad guy.
Well,
that would make sense.
I could see that too.
At least, but
as the king, not even the prince. But yeah,
I don't know, man. I want Henry Cavill to be a.
It would have been better
hero.
G-Force. I still want a G-Force movie.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Absolutely.
As well. Oh my God, Battle of the Planets, G-Force.
Absolutely,
it was great.
It was great.
I wish it were the Mighty Orbots.
Oh God, those are.
That was a good one too. Yeah, I forgot.
You know what? The Mighty Orbots gets a bad rap for being a ripoff of a ripoff. It's not, but their theme song kicks ass.
Mighty Orbots are great.
Mighty Orbots. Yeah, it's awesome.
Okay, I just looked it up.
Joe,
now I remember Mighty Orbots, and it was a ripoff of a ripoff.
It's like I don't even remember. Was the Orbots about? It wasn't the Orbots wasn't about transforming robots.
They weren't transforming.
It kind of was.
Kind of was. Yeah, there's one big one.
Only when they combined, they had like a ultimate form that they like a Gestalt form.
Yeah,
but they were individual robots. Other than that.
And this
so
form,
yeah, it's like you're an off-brand GoBots, which is an off-brand Transformers, and they get a bad rap.
But you transform into a giant Power Ranger, basically. So
yeah, but their cartoon, the theme song to their cartoon rules, and it's right up there with like top 10 list of greatest cartoon theme songs. Orbots is on there, number 1 with a bullet. The Amazing Adventures of the Gummy Bears.
Jim, what is the name of? I'm just going to change the subject. Jim, what is the name of all the anime stuff where you have several people that transform into a big robot, Power Ranger style? What do they call it? Is it Sentai, Super Sentai, or
Super Sentai? Yeah.
Okay.
Super Sentai.
Super Sentai. Yeah. Orbots was an American take on basically Japanese Sentai stuff because it was all.
It's too bad Tommy wasn't here because her whole thing is about Super Sentai.
Great stuff.
Like applying like a trans perspective to that genre of
magical girl too. Yeah. Magical girl transformations.
All right, with that, I'm getting out of here. This has been a good gang hang.
All right, yeah.
We'll talk soon this week.
Everybody say I'm sorry to Matt.
No,
sorry,
we don't need to. I got thick skin. I'm fine. You guys think you can upset me? Give me a break. We're going to be covering Amaglam comics this week on the Cosmic Longbox. So be prepared to hear that over and over and over again, you jerks.
Look, that's not your joke. We've been saying Amaglam for 30 years. So
there was a guy that proudly marched into our comic shop one day, and he was like, "This is a great looking comic shop."
A lot of the things that we say purposefully wrong on the show, we stole from customers that we were making.
This guy, he strutted in, and he's like, "This is a great looking shop you got here. You know what? Where's your Amaglam section? Those are my favorite comics. Those Amaglam comics." And I was like, "Amaglam is right over here, sir." It just like rolled with it, you know. Anybody who was into the Submariner or Sabre Tooth, like I get it, man.
Sabre Tooth, the Spectre,
you know, it's great stuff. Okay, good gang.
All right, guys.
We'll
have
see
a
you
good
next
week.
week.
We'll see you next time.
Adios.
Hi guys.
Yo laters. Hey guys.